Are you recording? I was asking the. You are recording. Sorry, those of you who are watching that, my bad. So that means don't say anything silly, no burps. All right, and so everybody can see it at home. I'm going to have you type this up here. It's a little bit dark now. I'm trying not to fall asleep. Now, so this topic kind of depends on the class. It depends on if you're more philosophical or not. If you're not very philosophical, if you're more hands-on, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you're understanding what I'm doing. I'm not saying you have to be excited about it, but some of you who are more philosophical, you might dig this a little bit because you might like to ask the question why. And that's what yesterday I tried to help you get the what. I'm not sure how much of the what stuck, but I want to try to help you get the what to stick, but I also want you to help me figure out the why now. So having said all that, let's look at this chart, the very top, just to kind of set this up again, not again, but just to set it up for the first time. Like, how many branches of government are there? 3. And what are they? Legislative, executive, judicial. And the president's in the executive, the Supreme Court's in the judicial, etc. Right? Now, at the top of your paper, it says House, Senate, President, Judiciary, right? You can see up here, just for the sake of those people at home, can you make this president say POTUS? Yeah. Do I know what POTUS stands for? President of the United States. I got that from my sister, and in case you don't know, now, okay, it's not just my sister who says POTUS. All people all over the place say POTUS, right? But my sister gets it from her work as a Secret Service agent. My sister's in the Secret Service. Yes, both of my sisters make more money than me. But my sister, I'm the oldest. If you couldn't tell, I'm the oldest child in my family. I am, but the middle kid is Brittany, and she is in the room with President Biden quite often. Maybe not the Oval Office, right? But she actually drove Barron Trump to and from school every day when Barron was at the White House. So I guess that makes me pretty important too, right? So I'm just kidding that way. But she says POTUS, so I say POTUS. I'm teaching you some Washington, D.C. lingo right there. SCOTUS? The Supreme Court of the United States. Supreme Court of the United States. And some people call it that. You don't have to call it that if you don't want to. Now, of these 4, 3 of them are elected. Which ones are elected? Yeah. The House, the Senate, and the President. And then the Supreme Court is. Okay, so make sure that you have that in each of these categories right here. Now, I'm going to pose the question to you now, and I don't want you to answer it now, but I'm going to pose the question to you now. Why is it like that? Why aren't all of them elected? Why aren't all of them appointed? Why isn't it half and half? There's a reason behind this, and one of the points that I'm trying to make today is that it's not like the founding fathers, when they wrote the Constitution, had these dice on it, and some said 2, and some said 6, and some said life, and some said elected, some said appointed. They just kind of threw it out on the table and oh, all right, that's the Senate. Right? That's not how they did it. They had reasons why they were doing things. You may not think the reasons are good reasons, but you need to understand the reasons first. Anybody want to? What's your initial thoughts about why there might be appointed here and elected here? Do you have a thought?
So the appointed one, the House, the Senate, and the President, they all have terms, like a specific amount of time and stuff.
Right.
So you want to be elected because they get like a new one every 4 years or 6 years or 2 years.
Yes.
So with the judges and Supreme Courts and stuff, you're kind of in it until your deemed not worthy of your position. So when you're appointed, you want someone who's going to be reliable so that they can stay in for all their life.
That's good. I like that train of thought, and I'm going to pause on that for just a second because Red had his hand up. Do you want to add to that? No. Oh, yeah, okay. Fair enough. right? Well, why don't we want Supreme Court members who are elected? And you kind of touched on that, but let me just see, Randy, go ahead. That's true. You don't really go to president's school unless your last name is Roosevelt or Bush or Clinton, right? I'm just kidding. There's no, there have been several of them. But anyway, it's kind of a joke. Yeah.
So our judges recently stuff like in the court are supposed to become unbiased. So if they were like voted in when they have like a bias one.
That is this class is already. Anyway, good. That was very good. That was very good. If you didn't hear what I was saying up there, that's because I whispered it. I didn't want you to hear it. So no offense to anyone, right? No, this class is doing well. So yeah, they're supposed to be unbiased. They're supposed to not have a political party. Now, in reality, we know that there are conservative judges and liberal judges and judges in the middle. That's just the way it goes, right? But if you're running as a Democrat member for Supreme Court, then you're gonna, only get voted in by Democrats, probably, or Republicans if you're Republican, and we don't want that bias in there. That's what that's what we try not to have. Okay, so let's go off the topic. Let's go off this a little bit. Let's just fill in the SCOTUS one since we're here. What's the length of their term in office? Yeah.
Life or like good behavior.
Good behavior. As long as you still have a pulse, and you haven't resigned, and you haven't been impeached, haven't engaged in bad behavior, you can continue in office. So you have a life term. And there's reason for that, and I think Phoenix and I think Emma both kind of said something about that, but do you want to just say something about that specifically then? Why give them life terms?
Because they're, I guess, basically already invested in life.
Good, we'll get to that in just a second, actually. That's very good. Yeah.
If they're not acting out of order, then they're a trustworthy judge. Because if there's any reason that they shouldn't be in there, they would.
Why not? Do judges sometimes have to make controversial and unpopular decisions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they could be the right decision. Right? Like it was right in 1954 to desegregate public schools, to allow blacks and whites and every race to go to the same school. It was a right decision. But if you had an election the next year, that Supreme Court would have got kicked out. Now, of course, they can also make bad decisions, and we'll learn about some of those, right? But the theory behind this is that we don't want them kicked out just based on the whim of the people. Let's be honest. Are we all on the same page here? The people are like this. Groups of people are like this. Are y'all with me on that? If you all are not seeing me, which you're not, I'm making a wavy motion with my hand that looks like a roller coaster. Okay. I mean, isn't that the way we are with music? Right? Like, it seems like 2 weeks ago, Bruno Mars was the thing. That's what it seems like to me. I know it was like 10 years ago, really. He seemed like the guy, right? And where's he at now? He was Is he on the radio? Do you even listen to the radio? The radio's not like, right? Who's down here? Who's at the top now?
Young Chris.
Shut up, bro. Get out.
Kick him.
I don't even know who that is.
That's a good. That is a good.
Who's the guy with the Satan shoes? Little Nas X, right? Is he kind of up on the top?
Yeah, honestly.
Right? But you all know that Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears they were up here in the 90s and really fast one down, and apparently we need to free Britney, right? And somebody else came and took their place. Do I read that? No. I kind of like her music.
Yeah, but you
The Mumford and Sons, no, but this is how we are. This is how we are with movies, right? Because Black Widow was a thing, and now nobody cares about it because Shang-Chi's come out, right? And some of you don't even know what that is, so it's already down here for you. So like you see what I'm saying? If we're like that with music and movies, like aren't we like that with just about everything? in life, and don't we want somebody who's not going to be affected by that as much? How is this office elected? No, not elected, appointed. Oh, oh.
Someone, I think it's from or the legislative branch. I think they like pick someone, they hand pick someone.
The legislative branch does have a role in selecting Supreme Court and other federal judges, yes, but they don't pick it. Who else has a role in it, do you think, besides the part of the legislative branch? On the right track, Michael? The president, what's the word? What does he do?
He appoints them.
Appoints, right? I'm gonna draw it. I don't know if you're able to find a way to draw this on there. If you can't, that's fine. I'm gonna draw it for you all up here because I like to draw and I'm terrible at it. Supreme Court of the United States. This picture might come up sometime later. Is appointed by the president. But that's not all. It's like, this is such an important job that we don't trust the president to just appoint it and that's it. It's the Senate that confirms. Now, there's more to this drawing, and I'm going to leave it here for now. Right? But this is so important that we give them life terms. And you notice where the people at? So far, they're not even in the picture. Okay. So and I think that you're starting to see hopefully some of the reasons behind it. Okay, now let's go down, let's go over to age. How old do you gotta be in the house? Yeah, 25. There's a reason for that. Not 18. That's when you're an adult, right? Legally, whatever that means. I'll be honest with you, I don't feel like I was really an adult until I got my first job. That's when I really felt like I was an adult because I was still living at home at age 22. Why not 18?
There's no experience that you really have to gotten out into the world yet. Like you said, most people are still like kids when they're 18.
You want Gretchen to be elected for representative? You want Shay to be elected for representative next year? Colton, do you want Colton to be?
Absolutely not. It's in the United States.
Yeah, Greg, you had your hand up. Colton, chase it away. When you think of it, let me know. Right? There's a reason behind that. Okay, now, what's the age for the Senate? Yeah, 30. There's a difference. And I'm arguing that the difference there isn't on accident. And it's not like they rolled the dice. Like they chose that for a reason. Can you think with me real quick, what does this imply? That there's a difference? Yeah.
Because the different jobs, one's more pleasure, one's more experience.
This is what we call bicameralism. Bicameralism, two houses. There are two houses. And one's an upper house and one's a lower house. That's what always happens when it comes to bicameral legislatures. Right? And by the way, just to remind you, these two, for those of you at home, these two are part of the legislature. They make up the legislation. So which one seems like the upper house? Senate, because there's a higher qualification. In theory, are you wiser at age 30 than you were at age 25? Unless drugs have intervened in that time span. In theory. I was much more wise when I was age 30 than I was 25, and one of the reasons why is because I got married. I had more responsibilities. And gentlemen, when there's a lady in your life, it almost always increases your wisdom because of her, right? Not because of you, right? So that's kind of sexist, but it's kind of true too. Yes, Mr. Search, if he's better off for having Mrs. Search, right? So there's that. Now, what goes here? 35. And what's that telling you? It tells you something, right? What does it tell you?
That
Even more important. Okay, let's keep on this trend then, because I think that and notice, there's nothing in here about the Supreme Court, how long you should be a resident or how old you must be, because if you go through the process of what we're gonna finish drawing here, like, you're probably gonna be old and wise. That's just the way it's gonna probably play out. Yeah.
So, I remember.
Okay.
So not just the house, but for all of them.
Yep.
Like, going based off of, like, your own experience, you're also not very qualified, there's chances are you kind of just study it all.
And that's why we put these qualifications in there. It's a check to make sure that we get the right people. It's not foolproof, obviously. There's some bad people in the House and the Senate. There always has been, but it kind of helps that process along. How long do you have to be a resident? How long must you be a resident in order to be elected into the House? 7 years. Okay. What's that telling you? Can foreigners be elected into the House of Representatives?
Yeah.
After living here for 7 years, yes. It's kind of common sense, right? I think every country around the world has something like this in there because you don't want somebody coming over who's spy. In 1788, you don't want British spies coming over and trying to wreck things. Right? And don't think that there weren't, or French spies. There were people like that coming over too. We could talk about it. But, right? So there's a common sense thing put in there. You know, I'm not anti-immigrant. I love immigration, but that's their reasoning. Okay, what's the next one? Yeah, 9, right? Notice lower, middle, higher here. What's this next one going to be? Is this going to be higher or lower? It's going to be a higher qualification. What's the presidential qualification? You have to be a national board citizen. If some of you put in there something about age 14 or 14 years residency, that was only applying to the time that the Constitution was written. At the time the Constitution was written, if you had been here, if you were a foreigner, but you had been here for 14 years, then you could run for president. But after that, you have to be a natural born citizen. And some people say, and I don't know how true this is, some people say that clause, that 14-year clause was put in there because they wanted people like Alexander Hamilton to have the opportunity to be elected because Hamilton was born in St. Croix, London, America. And he was extremely intelligent and capable. You know why, Shay? He never became president?
I'm not sure.
Peyton, good, thank you. Peyton, do you know why he wasn't president? You remember what the musical said? And almost certainly is true.
The reason in the musical is because he put out there out of fear, he put out that he had an affair with his wife when she was visiting her father, and out of fear, after he told it was Aaron Burr and a few other people, out of fear that they were going to ruin his reputation, he took it, put it into words, and published it, which was not his first idea, but he did.
He actually, Alexander Hamilton told the public he had an affair with Maria Reynolds. And that pretty much crushed his chance of being president. Oh, sorry, good. It was
If
Great.
he didn't do that, he could have been president.
very possible because he was very capable.
And then he wouldn't have to worry about Aaron Burr,
That's an interesting what if. Isn't it? Did you have something, Grant, that you wanted?
Well, yeah, but because earlier you said you died by having to do it.
Yeah.
I thought that was
If he had become president, then he probably wouldn't have the duel because the duel came after Aaron Burr was elected vice president. And Aaron Burr certainly wouldn't have been elected vice president if Hamilton had been president, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of twisted terms to it. Right. So we got here this trend of going low, middle, high. What's this one? Length of the term. Yeah. Every 2 years. This makes sense to me, and I'll try to explain it in just a minute. Hold on. You would expect then, because these have gone up, that this one would go up, right? Does it? What is it? 6 years. Notice, the Senate has higher qualifications and a longer length of office. That just reaffirms that upper house thing. And if you look at some of the powers that the Senate has, notice the Senate confirms Supreme Court, not the House. So that's a power that the Senate has that the House doesn't. And there are several others like treaties and so on and so forth. Now, low, middle, high. So is this 10? Can you put 10? Is that what the president's term is? Why not? Everything else is gone. Up, up, up.
The president can have 2 terms.
They can. The president can have, and back then there was no term limit, so you could be elected to as many 4-year terms as you could get elected to. George Washington could have been president for life. Do you know the name of the president, the only president to be elected more than twice? Which Roosevelt? Not Teddy. Which one? FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt got elected 4 times, actually. We'll talk about that when we get to World War II. But no, it's not 10. What is it? 4. Why does this make sense? Yeah, Mo?
Because it's such an important role that, say, like, if someone that isn't the best is elected, there's still a chance that, like, not everything will be ruined if because of the overthrows.
See, we can, if the person in the House is bad, we can unelect that person. So if this year they're not doing what we want, then next year we can kick them out, right? And we'll talk about this in just a second, but that's the same thing for the president. We don't want to elect him every 2 years, right? That would be a zoo. Because it's a zoo already with 4. But do we want to wait 10 years? Or even 8? Probably not, because you could get a really bad dude in there, despite all these checks, right? All these qualifications. So we want to make that a little bit shorter. Now, why do we give the Senate 6 years? Well, I think it kind of has to do with what the House and what the Senate is supposed to be. So can you maybe draw these down here? Just go and I'll talk about it. What do you have down? How is the House chosen? How's the House elected? What's the process? Yeah.
The people of the several states.
So the House is elected directly by the people. If you were a visual person and you want to draw boxes and so on and so forth, and if that helps, then feel free, because you might see that drawing later on, right? But the House is directly elected by the people. This is the only one originally that was directly elected by the people. You're going to see all these little roadblocks put in place between the people and that. Why would it make sense that the founding fathers wanted at least one of these 4 to directly reflect the people's will? Okay. Somebody's got to be able to go and know the people, right? They got to live with the people. They got to be with the people. They got to check the pulse, check the heart rate, right? And like we said, people are like this. Well, sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so we need to somebody that goes back every 2 years to see what the people are thinking. And then if they don't come back every 2 years and they don't do a good job, then we can kick them out pretty quick, right? And they're younger, so they have the energy to go out and know the people and travel and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense to you so far? You're with me there? Now, the Senate is this. Because of the 17th Amendment, the Senate is now directly elected by the people. But that's not how it was originally. Does your chart there say something about the state legislature will choose? Or the legislature of the state thereof, or something like that? Is that what you put down there? Because if you didn't, then I'd like you to draw something like this down there. Originally, the people would choose their state legislature, and their state legislature would then choose the Senate. Why? That's very good. The way I say it is that the people choose the best of us, the state legislature, and then the best of us choose the best of the best of us. right? The Senate is supposed to be the best of the best, which is why they have more power, for the most part, which is why they're supposed to be older. They're supposed to be here longer. So why does it make sense to give them 6 years in office? Are they supposed to be like this? What are they supposed to be like? If you can't see, because I know you can't if you're looking, Ren just did a little like steady motion. They're not up and down. Calm, cool, collected. Because in theory, they're older and wiser. So don't make them go back to the people for re-election every 2 years. Give them a chance to establish themselves. And maybe sometimes make decisions that the people won't like, but are the right decisions. Okay? President chosen by the Electoral College, not directly by the people. I know that you vote for president, but what puts him or her, could be a her, right, in office is the Electoral College. And so again, we've got the best of us choosing the best of us, hopefully. Hopefully. See, the people were removed early on from selecting both the president and the Senate. Now, where are the people at here? I'm tapping on the Supreme Court side if you're listening. Electoral College, people, state legislature, people. We think that the Supreme Court needs to be so insulated from the people that we have 2 buffers in between. And it's so important that the president just can't do it. He's got to have the Senate confirm it. Are you following me? Are you good? Do you have any questions? Okay, then here's what I'm going to do. First, and I'll end the recording in a second. First, here is the answer key for the sheet. And I would like to give you full points on this sheet, but I need you first to complete your sheet, filling in your answers, please, if you would. And all you have to do is just check to see if you got it. You don't have to change anything unless it's like blatantly wrong. Then I have a worksheet that is going to try to check and see if you at least understand part of what I'm talking about here. And Ms. Gillen will pass that out to you. Once you're done filling out your chart, will you please try to fill out what she's passing out? No, come back.